In the grand chambers of the Galactic Council, representatives from a myriad of advanced spacefaring civilizations gathered to discuss matters of cosmic importance. The Zintheri, with their elongated craniums and shimmering robes, sat alongside the bulbous-eyed Kulaks and the crystalline Python. These species, among many others, had long ago transcended their planetary boundaries and forged a galactic community built on cooperation and shared knowledge. However, a shadow loomed over the proceedings. Reports had been flooding in about the increasingly aggressive expansion of the Zorgax Imperium, a sprawling empire of insectoid beings known for their relentless conquests and hive-mind mentality. The Zorgax had always been a thorn in the Council's side, but their recent incursions into Council-aligned systems had escalated tensions to new heights. The Zorgax have gone too far this time, declared Councillor Zix of the Zinthali, his voice resonating with telepathic undertones. They have annexed 3 border systems in the last cycle alone, enslaving entire populations and stripping worlds of resources. Agreed, chimed in Representative Cooler, his bulbous eyes swiveling in agitation. Our fleets are spread thin trying to counter their advances. We must take decisive action before they threaten the core worlds. As the debate raged on, a new voice interrupted the proceedings. It was Overseer Privar, the crystalline delegate tasked with monitoring the less developed regions of the galaxy. Counselors, I bring news of a curious development in the Orion Spur. It seems a previously unknown species has entered the galactic stage, a species that calls itself human. A ripple of murmurs spread through the chamber. The notion of a new spacefaring civilization was not unheard of, but it was exceedingly rare in this era of galactic history. Privar continued, Our long-range scans have detected a small but growing network of human colonies and outposts in a region of space bordering Zorgax territory. More interestingly, we have intercepted communications indicating that these humans have recently engaged in military confrontations with Zorgax forces. The murmurs intensified, tinged with a mix of surprise and incredulity. A primitive species, barely out of their own solar system, daring to stand against the might of the Zorgax Imperium. It seemed laughable. Councillor Zix, his brow furrowed in contemplation, spoke up once more. While this development is intriguing, surely these humans pose no significant challenge to the Zorgax. They are likely just another minor species to be consumed in the Imperium's relentless expansion. Privar inclined his crystalline head. Perhaps, Counselor. However, I believe it would be prudent to gather more information about this new player on the galactic stage. If nothing else, their interactions with the Zorgax may provide valuable intelligence for our own efforts. The Council eventually moved on to other pressing matters, the question of the humans fading into the background. Little did they know that the seeds of a profound shift in galactic power had already been sown. Far across the galaxy, in a small but advanced human outpost, a grizzled officer stood before a holographic display of the surrounding star systems. Battle scars crisscrossed his face, a testament to the trials his people had endured in their brief but explosive foray into the cosmos. Admiral, our scouts have confirmed the presence of a major Zorgax hive fleet in the Kappa Crucis system, reported a young lieutenant, her voice tight with tension. They appear to be massing for an invasion of the Finarian colonies. Admiral Jace Ryder nodded grimly. The Finarians were a peaceful, technologically advanced species that had welcomed humanity with open arms when they first ventured into the stars. They had shared knowledge, resources, and a vision of a brighter future, a future now threatened by the Zorgax. We can't let the Zorgax have their way with the Finarians, Jace declared, his eyes hardening with resolve. It's time to show these bugs what humanity is made of. Prepare the fleet for a jump to Kappa Crucis. We'll hit them hard and fast, just like we did at Sigma Draconis. As the outpost buzzed with activity, preparing for the coming confrontation, Jace couldn't help but reflect on the strange twists of fate that had brought humanity to this point. Who could have imagined, when they first set out to explore the stars, that they would find themselves embroiled in a galactic war against a relentless alien empire. But there was no turning back now. The Zorgax had to be stopped, and if humanity had to stand alone against the tide, then so be it. They had come too far, sacrificed too much, to let the light of freedom be extinguished. The Admiral squared his shoulders, ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead. The galaxy was about to learn the true measure of human resolve. The SSV Endeavour, a sleek human exploration vessel, cruised through the void of space, its powerful engines propelling it toward the uncharted regions of the galaxy. Captain Liana Vasquez, a seasoned veteran of Earth's Space Command, sat in her command chair, eyes fixed on the viewscreen displaying the stars streaking past. "Captain, we're picking up an unusual energy signature off the port bow," reported Lieutenant Marcus Kane, the ship's sensor officer. "It appears to be a small space station of unknown origin." Liana leaned forward, her brow furrowed in curiosity. "Unknown origin? Out here in the middle of nowhere? That's odd. Bring us in closer, but keep the shields up. We don't know what we're dealing with." As the Endeavour approached the mysterious station, the crew marveled at its alien design, all smooth curves and shimmering metal, unlike anything they had encountered before. Suddenly, a sleek silver ship emerged from behind the station, its advanced propulsion systems flaring to life as it moved to intercept the human vessel. "Captain, we're being hailed," announced Communications Officer Nella Okafor, her fingers dancing across her console. "Audio only." Liana nodded. "Put it through." A strange, melodic voice filled the bridge, speaking in a language none of them had ever heard before. The universal translator kicked in a moment later, rendering the alien words into heavily accented English. "Unknown vessel, you have entered a restricted area. Identify yourselves immediately or face the consequences." Liana stood, feeling the weight of the moment settling on her shoulders. This was the first time humanity had encountered an advanced alien species, and the next few minutes could determine the course of their entire future. "This is Captain Liana Vasquez of the SSV Endeavour, representing the United Earth Federation. We come in peace, seeking to explore and establish friendly relations with other civilizations." There was a long pause, and for a moment, Liana feared the aliens might open fire, but then the voice returned, a hint of surprise coloring its tone. "Earth Federation, we are unfamiliar with your species or your government. You are trespassing in Galactic Council space. Prepare to be boarded for inspection." Liana's eyes narrowed. She had no intention of allowing unknown aliens to board her ship, but she also knew that a confrontation could be disastrous. She had to find a way to defuse the situation and establish a dialogue. "With all due respect, we were unaware of any Galactic Council or its claimed territory. We apologize for the intrusion and are willing to leave immediately. However, we would greatly appreciate the opportunity to open a peaceful dialogue and learn more about your people and this council you speak of." Another pause, longer this time. Liana could feel the tension on the bridge, the crew's eyes darting between her and the view screen, where the alien ship hung in space like a silver dagger. Finally, the alien spoke again, its tone softening slightly. "Very well, Captain Vasquez. We will relay your request to our superiors. Maintain your position and await further instructions. Any attempt to flee or engage in hostile action will be met with force." The communication cut off abruptly, leaving the bridge in a stunned silence. Liana sank back into her chair, her mind racing. They had made contact with an advanced alien civilization, one that seemed to be part of a larger galactic community. The implications were staggering. Hours passed as the Endeavour waited, the crew growing increasingly restless. Liana pored over the sensor data, trying to glean any information she could about the alien ship and station. Their technology was clearly far superior to humanity's, and she couldn't shake the feeling that they were being watched like a bug under a microscope. Just as the tension reached a breaking point, the alien voice returned, this time with a note of cautious curiosity. Captain Vasquez, your request for dialogue has been granted. Prepare to receive a delegation from the Galactic Council. They will arrive in one of your standard Earth days. Lyanna let out a breath she hadn't realized she'd been holding. Thank you. We look forward to the opportunity for peaceful exchange and mutual understanding. As the crew scrambled to prepare for the historic meeting, Lyanna couldn't shake the feeling that this was only the beginning of a much larger story, one that would change the course of human history and humanity's place in the galaxy. Light years away, in the grand chambers of the Galactic Council, the news of the human encounter spread like wildfire. Some dismissed it as a curiosity, a primitive species stumbling into matters beyond their understanding. But others, like Counselor Zix and Overseer Privar, saw it as an opportunity, a chance to learn more about these enigmatic humans and the role they might play in the growing conflict with the Zorgax. As the Council's delegation prepared to depart for the meeting with the Endeavor, a sense of anticipation hung in the air. The galaxy was on the brink of change, and the humans, for better or worse, would be at the center of it all. In the weeks following the historic meeting between the SSV Endeavor and the Galactic Council delegation, relations between humanity and the galactic community blossomed. The Council, impressed by human ingenuity and determination, welcomed Earth as an associate member, granting access to advanced technologies and a seat at the table of galactic affairs. However, the shadow of the Zorgax Imperium loomed larger than ever. The insectoid empire, emboldened by its recent conquests, had turned its sights on the resource-rich worlds of the Phinarian Republic, a key ally of the Galactic Council and one of the first species to establish friendly ties with humanity. The Phinarian colonies, despite their advanced technology, were ill-equipped to face the full might of the Zorgax war machine. Their fleets, designed for peacekeeping and exploration, found themselves quickly overwhelmed by the sheer number and ferocity of the Zorgax attackers. Desperate pleas for aid echoed through the council chambers as the Phinarians begged for support against the relentless onslaught. The council, its own fleets stretched thin by the growing conflict, debated and deliberated, but ultimately found itself paralyzed by indecision and internal politics. It was then that Admiral Jace Ryder, the grizzled veteran who had led humanity's first battles against the Zorgax, stepped forward with a bold proposal. "The Phinarians are our friends and allies," he declared, his voice ringing with conviction. "They stood by us when we first ventured into the stars, and now it's our turn to stand by them. The United Earth Federation is prepared to commit its full military might to the defense of the Phinarian colonies, but we can't do it alone. We need the support and cooperation of the Galactic Council." The council chamber erupted into a cacophony of voices, some expressing shock at the audacity of the human proposal, others arguing vehemently against involving the council in what they saw as a lost cause. But Counselor Zix, the enigmatic Zinthili leader, rose to speak in support of the Admiral's plan. "The humans have shown themselves to be brave and resourceful allies," Zix said, his telepathic voice cutting through the din. "They have faced the Zorgax before and emerged victorious. If they are willing to stand against the Imperium once more, then I say we stand with them. The Phinarians are not just allies, but friends, and in this dark hour, we must not abandon our friends." One by one, other counselors began to voice their support, swayed by Zix's words and the growing realization that the Zorgax threat could no longer be ignored. In the end, the Council voted to formally ally with the United Earth Federation and commit its own forces to the defense of the Phinarian colonies. As the news of the alliance spread, the galaxy held its breath. Never before had such a diverse coalition of species come together to face a common foe. The humans, once dismissed as primitive newcomers, now found themselves at the forefront of a galactic war that would determine the fate of countless worlds. Admiral Ryder wasted no time in mobilizing the human fleet, working closely with his Galactic Council counterparts to coordinate their efforts. The plan was simple but daring. a massive multi-pronged assault on the Zorgax forces besieging the Phinarian colonies, designed to catch the insectoid invaders off guard and drive them back. As the combined fleet of human and council ships dropped out of hyperspace at the edge of the Phinarian system, they were greeted by a scene of utter devastation. The once vibrant colonies lay in ruins, their surfaces scorched and cratered by the relentless Zorgax bombardment. The insectoid fleet, a vast swarm of chitinous ships and pulsing bioenergy, hung in space like a malevolent cloud, poised to strike at the heart of the Phinarian homeworld. But the Allies were not cowed by the sight. With a roar of engines and a blaze of weapons fire, they charged into battle, human and alien ships fighting side by side against the common foe. The Zorgax, caught off guard by the sudden appearance of the Allied fleet, scrambled to respond, their formation dissolving into chaos as they sought to counter the unexpected threat. The battle raged for hours, the void of space lit by the fires of dying ships and the flashes of weapons discharge. The humans, their ships smaller and more agile than the Council vessels, darted in and out of the fray, striking at the Zorgax's weak points with precision and daring. The Council ships, their advanced technology brought to bear, unleashed devastating barrages that tore through the insectoid ranks like a scythe through wheat. In the end, the Allied fleet emerged victorious, the Zorgax forces in full retreat, and the Phinarian colonies saved from the brink of annihilation. As the smoke cleared and the wounded were tended to, a sense of camaraderie and shared purpose settled over the Allied crews. They had fought and bled together, human and alien alike, and in doing so, had forged a bond that would not easily be broken. The galaxy had changed that day, the balance of power shifting in ways that few could have predicted. The humans, once the newcomers on the galactic stage, had proven themselves to be a force to be reckoned with, a species with the courage and determination to stand against even the most fearsome of foes. And as the Allied fleet set course for the next battle, ready to take the fight to the heart of the Zorgax Imperium itself, one thing was certain: the galaxy would never be the same again. In the aftermath of the successful defense of the Phinarian colonies, the newly formed alliance between the United Earth Federation and the Galactic Council set its sights on a more ambitious goal, taking the fight directly to the Zorgax Imperium. The Insectoid Empire, long seen as an unstoppable force of conquest and domination, suddenly found itself on the defensive, its expansion checked by the surprising strength and unity of its foes. At the forefront of this new offensive was the Joint Human Council Task Force, an elite unit composed of the best and brightest from both civilizations. Led by Admiral Jace Ryder and his alien counterparts, the task force embarked on a series of daring raids and surgical strikes deep into Zorgax-held territory, aiming to disrupt the Imperium's supply lines, gather vital intelligence, and sow chaos in the enemy's ranks. As the task force pushed deeper into Zorgax space, they began to uncover the true extent of the Imperium's power and the dark secrets that lay at the heart of its success. The Zorgax, it seemed, were not just a species of ruthless conquerors, but a hive mind guided by a single overriding purpose: the subjugation and assimilation of all other forms of life in the galaxy. At the center of this hive mind were the Zorgax queens, massive, psychically gifted beings that served as the nexus of the Imperium's collective consciousness. It was the queens who directed the Zorgax swarms, coordinating their actions with unnerving precision and adapting to new threats with frightening speed. Faced with this revelation, the task force's mission took on a new urgency. If they could find a way to disrupt or sever the link between the queens and their swarms, they could strike a devastating blow against the Imperium, one that could potentially turn the tide of the war. To this end, the humans brought to bear a secret weapon they had been developing since their first encounters with the Zorgax, a suite of advanced cybernetic warfare technologies designed to penetrate and subvert the insectoid hive mind. These technologies, born of human ingenuity and honed through bitter experience, offered a glimmer of hope in the face of an otherwise unstoppable foe. The task force's opportunity came sooner than expected. when a daring raid on a Zorgax command post yielded the location of a key hive world, a planet that served as a hub for the Imperium's psychic network and a breeding ground for its queens. The Alliance leadership, recognizing the significance of this target, greenlit a massive assault aimed at striking at the very heart of the enemy's power. The assault, codenamed Operation Hivebreaker, was a masterpiece of planning and coordination, involving hundreds of ships and thousands of personnel from across the Alliance. Human and Council forces worked side by side, their strengths and abilities complementing each other in ways that would have been unthinkable just a short time before. As the Allied fleet dropped out of hyperspace above the Hive world, they were greeted by a sight that defied comprehension. A planet entirely encased in a shimmering organic matrix, pulsing with malevolent energy. The Zorgax, alerted to the impending attack, had mobilized their defenses, and the space around the world was thick with insectoid ships and writhing biomechanical constructs. The battle that followed was like nothing the galaxy had ever seen. The Allies, their ships equipped with the latest in human cybernetic warfare tech, plunged into the heart of the enemy formation, their weapons and systems targeting the weak points in the Zorgax's psychic network. The insectoids fought back with all the ferocity and coordination of the hive mind, their ships moving in eerie unison, and their weapons pulsing with sickly green energy. At the forefront of the Allied assault was Admiral Ryder's flagship, the UES Retribution, a sleek, deadly vessel bristling with the most advanced weapons and technologies humanity had to offer. Ryder, his face set in grim determination, led his crew into the thick of the fighting, the Retribution's guns blazing as it carved a path through the enemy ranks. As the battle raged, the Allies began to make headway, their cybernetic attacks sowing confusion and discord in the Zorgax hive mind. The insectoid ships, their coordination faltering, became easier targets for the Allied guns, and the tide slowly began to turn. But the Zorgax were far from defeated. As the Allies pressed their advantage, the hive world itself began to stir, the organic matrix rippling and pulsing with malevolent purpose. From the depths of the planet's surface, a monstrous form began to emerge, a queen of queens, a being of unimaginable psychic power and insatiable hunger. The queen, her form a twisted fusion of insectoid and mechanical parts, rose into the void, her presence sending shockwaves through the Allied fleet. Ships tumbled and crews screamed as the queen's psychic scream tore at their minds, threatening to overwhelm them with a tidal wave of alien hunger and rage. But Admiral Ryder, his will as unyielding as the steel of his ship, stood fast in the face of this new threat. With a final desperate gambit, he ordered the Retribution to ram the queen, the ship's cybernetic warfare suite fully engaged and targeted at the monstrous being's psychic core. The impact, when it came, was cataclysmic. The Retribution, its hull screaming and buckling under the strain, plunged into the queen's form, the ship's systems pouring all their power into a single, focused burst of cybernetic energy. The queen, her scream rising to a deafening crescendo, convulsed and shuddered, her form beginning to come apart at the seams. And then, with a final, blinding flash of light, the queen exploded, her psychic essence dissipating into the void like a wisp of smoke. Across the hive world, and throughout the Zorgax fleet, the insectoids shuddered and went still, their hive minds severed and their purpose lost. The battle was over. The Allies, battered but unbroken, had achieved the impossible. They had struck at the very heart of the Zorgax Imperium and emerged victorious. The galaxy, so long under the shadow of the insectoid threat, could breathe a sigh of relief. But the cost had been high. The Retribution, its hull shattered and its crew decimated, drifted in the void, a silent testament to the sacrifice of Admiral Ryder and his valiant crew. They had given their lives to secure a future for the Alliance, a future free from the tyranny of the Zorgax. As the Allied fleet regrouped and began the long process of rebuilding, the galaxy looked to the future with a newfound sense of hope and unity. The humans, once the outsiders, had proven themselves to be the key to victory. the spark that had ignited a fire of resistance against the darkness. And though the road ahead would be long and fraught with challenges, one thing was certain. The alliance, forged in the crucible of war and tempered by shared sacrifice, would stand as a beacon of hope and strength for generations to come. In the wake of the momentous victory over the Zorgax Imperium, the galaxy entered a new era of peace, cooperation, and prosperity. The alliance between the United Earth Federation and the Galactic Council, once a marriage of convenience born of necessity, had blossomed into a true partnership, a union of equals dedicated to the betterment of all sentient life. At the heart of this new order was the rebuilt Galactic Council, its ranks now swelled by the addition of human representatives and a host of other species that had rallied to the cause during the war. The Council, once a staid and hidebound institution, had been transformed by the infusion of new blood and new ideas, becoming a dynamic force for change and progress in the galaxy. Under the Council's guidance, the Alliance embarked on a massive program of reconstruction and renewal, pouring resources into the worlds and systems that had been ravaged by the Zorgax onslaught. Human ingenuity and technological prowess, combined with the Council race's deep wisdom and long experience, worked wonders, transforming shattered ruins into thriving centers of commerce and culture. At the same time, the Alliance turned its attention to the task of ensuring that the galaxy would never again fall prey to the likes of the Zorgax. The Council races, long content to rest on their laurels and let their technology stagnate, found themselves invigorated by the humans' relentless drive to innovate and improve. Together, they embarked on a program of scientific and technological exchange, sharing knowledge and resources in a spirit of openness and collaboration. The results were nothing short of astounding. Within a few short years, the Alliance had made leaps and bounds in fields ranging from propulsion and energy production to medicine and terraforming. Human-designed starships, sleek and powerful, began to ply the space lanes alongside the graceful vessels of the Council races, while new colonies and outposts sprang up on once barren worlds, their surfaces transformed by the latest in terraforming technology. But perhaps the most profound change brought about by the new era was the transformation in the way the various species of the galaxy viewed and interacted with one another. The shared experience of the war, the bonds forged in battle and sacrifice, had broken down the barriers of prejudice and misunderstanding that had long divided the galactic community. Humans and aliens alike began to see each other not as strange or threatening others, but as fellow sentient beings, united by a common purpose and a shared destiny. This new spirit of unity and cooperation found its most profound expression in the great cultural exchange that swept the galaxy in the years following the war. Human art, music, and literature began to find its way into the hearts and minds of alien audiences, while the rich cultural traditions of the Council races inspired new forms of human creative expression. Across the galaxy, beings of all shapes and sizes came together to celebrate their differences and their common ground, forging a new sense of galactic identity and shared purpose. For the humans of the United Earth Federation, the new era brought with it a profound sense of pride and accomplishment, tempered by the weight of the responsibilities they had taken on. No longer the newcomers on the galactic stage, they found themselves looked to as leaders and visionaries, their opinions and insights sought out by the wise and powerful of countless worlds. But even as they basked in the glow of their newfound status, the humans never forgot the lessons they had learned in the crucible of war. They knew that peace and prosperity were fragile things, easily shattered by the forces of greed, fear, and hatred, and so they remained ever vigilant, ready to stand against any threat to the hard-won gains of the Alliance. As the years passed and the new era matured, the galaxy entered a period of unprecedented growth and discovery. With the threat of the Zorgax vanquished and the Alliance standing strong, the sentient beings of countless worlds turned their attention to the great mysteries and challenges that had long beckoned from the stars. Explorers and adventurers set out into the vast, uncharted regions of the galaxy, driven by a thirst for knowledge and a desire to push the boundaries of the possible. They discovered new worlds and civilizations, forged new alliances and trade routes, and brought back wonders and marvels that had once been the stuff of dreams. Scientists and scholars unlocked the secrets of the universe, delving deep into the fundamental laws of nature and harnessing the power of the cosmos itself. They developed new technologies and theories that transformed the very fabric of galactic society, opening up possibilities that had once seemed like the stuff of science fiction. And through it all, the Alliance remained strong, a beacon of hope and unity in a galaxy that had once seemed so cold and hostile. The humans, once the outsiders, had found their place among the stars, and in doing so, had helped to forge a new chapter in the long and winding history of the galactic community. As the decades turned to centuries, and the centuries to millennia, the legacy of the Great War and the alliance that had emerged from it lived on. The names of heroes like Admiral Jace Ryder and the brave crew of the UES Retribution passed into legend, their deeds and sacrifices remembered and honored by generations yet unborn. And though the galaxy would face new challenges and threats in the ages to come, the spirit of unity and cooperation that had been forged in the fires of war would endure, a testament to the indomitable will and boundless potential of all sentient life. For the humans of the United Earth Federation, the new era was a time of great pride and reflection. They had come so far from their humble beginnings on a small blue world in an unremarkable corner of the galaxy. They had faced the darkness and emerged victorious, not just through their own strength and courage, but through the power of friendship, compassion, and unity. And as they looked to the future, the humans knew that whatever challenges lay ahead, they would face them as they always had, with heads held high, hearts full of hope, and hands extended in friendship to all those who would stand with them in the light. For in the end, the true measure of a species lay not in the strength of its arms or the reach of its empire, but in the depth of its compassion, the breadth of its vision, and the enduring power of its spirit. And in this, the humans had proven themselves to be among the greatest of all the galaxy's children. So ends the tale of the Great War and the alliance that rose from its ashes, a tale of courage and sacrifice, of unity and hope, and of the boundless potential that lies within the hearts of all sentient beings. May its lessons endure, and may its legacy shine bright, a guiding light for all the ages yet to come.